Everybody, it's a Mad Master here. I'm just going to do this video about a phenomenon that I've talked about before in certain ways. And I was going to do a more like organized, edited video for this, and I don't know what I'm going to do in the future, just as a note, because I like this subject because it relates. I'm just going to give a preface to say I've not been doing very well on this with this subject the last, year or so or more, to some extent, for various reasons I'm not going to go into this video about. That said, I will never identify with this type of person because I don't feel like I am this type of person. Now, I have my own challenges, as people know. And some people don't know of all the challenges that I have. But this is what it is. So I'm going to talk about this subject because this is how I feel about this at this current point in time, because I've known people like this. And that is the middle-aged incel. And what do I mean by this? So, I mean, a person that is so jaded in their perception of relationships and women that they're basically become an incel in later life. And I'll talk about the reasons why I believe this to be the case. And one of the things is that I see is that there's more than one person has come forward to this and with this. Now, I do have a friend who has been actually pretty successful, and he's around, and he does have some of these specifications and limits, but he doesn't have all of them. It's impossible to have all of them and actually succeed, in my opinion. So I'm going to go into the first reason that I find this to be what I see to be the case. So the first thing is guys that will not date women with kids. Now, it does not mean that you can have as your first choice dating women with kids, but like people that have these absolutes, like, I'm 45 years old, but I'm single, but I'm not going to date any women with kids. If you have kids, I'm not going to date you. And I'm like, that could have worked maybe when you're 25 years old, maybe when you're 30 even. And it could work if you only, well, we'll get to this in a minute, if you only talk to women below 25, which my age thing is impossible to go down, I'll explain that in a couple minutes, but it's just very unrealistic. It's very stupid. And I feel like at my point, in my case, it's like, well, I'm open to it. It doesn't mean that that's my I'm first in line for that, or that's the first choice that I would make. But I'm not going to close myself off to it, if you know what I mean. So that's a stupid choice some of these people make. Now, second thing is the age thing. Now, I probably would be accused of like leaning younger, but at the same time, I've kind of said, like with this recent experience I had actually, where I was very attracted to someone. Basically, I said that I was in love with them, and they were around my age. And I'm not gonna say who it was, but this woman, really, I would date her, but it's not an everyday occurrence with people that are around my age, because various factors, But that is another thing. So either they, that would be one thing you could say, oh, you're an incel if you only date women below 25 and you're 45 years old or whatever, you have these ideas. So that's fair, But what I'm talking about is actually from the opposite direction. So, oh, I only date, I don't want to, one friend of mine is like, I'm not going to date, I want to date a woman, not a girl. And I'm like talking about like 29, 30. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? You were such an idiot. So by making that arbitrary, in my mind, distinction, like, 35 and up, it's like, you're limiting yourself again. Now, the majority of women above 30 or 35 are probably married. Now, if they aren't married by that time, there are various reasons for it. And some of those reasons aren't so pleasant, let me just tell you. It just is in my case why, things aren't pleasant about me. I'm just going to admit it. So that's another reason. And it's like, why would you limit yourself in that way? When I used to set my OkCupid dating, it was like 20 to 40 32 or something like that. There were a couple of times where I said 20 to 35 too, I'll admit, or 18 to 35. But either way, that was a wide range, a wide swath of ages that I would date, potentially. So this is really stupid. I find this really dumb. Now, a third aspect of these people is that they complain about it. When they complain about it, they dig in, like a couple of my friends. It's so terrible. So terrible. It's all negative, you know. Oh, I can't. It's so bad. Dating's terrible. It's like, okay, well, you've already had this preset in your head. It's like a preset on a modeling amp. It's like a modeling amps. I don't know why I'm thinking of modeling amps, like the Line 6 I mentioned in a previous video. It's like you have this preset that's on. You try to play, and all that's coming out is this mush. Okay, well, maybe you make your preset a little different. Maybe you make your presuppositions a little different. Oh, it's so negative. It's so terrible. Of course, you're going to adopt that energy into the interactions that you do, into the even online interactions. Now, I've pretty much cut myself off online dating for the time being. And I'll I'm going to say I'll be honest what I'm going to do with regards to apps and stuff. And this is going to sound a little crazy, but I'm going to say it. And I don't know if it'll ever come true. I'm just going to be honest. My goal is that I have to approach 10 women a week for 2 months straight before I sign up for another app. And I know that's a minimum of 10 women a week, I should say. So that's a little crazy, I know, but it is what it is. So I'm not known. I'm just called a mad master for a fucking reason, dude, you know. So, but that comes to a third thing. I don't want to bother women. I just like what is it called? Proximity game, like at a bar. Like I'll only talk to the women around me. You know, I'm not gonna approach women. It's bad. It's wrong. And that goes to like the woke incel that I talked about, a certain person. And then you watch all these like Better Bachelor videos and you complain about women. So that's another thing. It's like, okay, so you don't want to be alone. You don't want to date women with kids. You complain about not dating women. And then when you want to improve things, you can't improve in real life because you don't want to take risks socially. I think you're like kind of fucked. Not in a good way either, you know. So that's another thing. That whole process of whatever the circular logic goes is very counterproductive. Now, I'm going to go with this final reason. Maybe this makes 5. And this is very specifically a case about someone that I've known. And I'm not going to say who it is, of course, but you know, I'm just going to say this is a person that I've known. Excuse me, I burped. You know, and this is a person that I've known, and they specifically told me these things, and I'm like, all right, dude, there's no getting away from this one. You've been with like 25, 30 women in your life. It's a pretty good average for your average guy, you know, pretty decent, you know. You've never been in a relationship more than a year, like if he ever watches these videos, which he won't, of course. But you know, let's see. Okay, so you complain about your friends' wives being too nutty for you to ever date. This is all true stuff that I've been told by this person. Been told all this stuff about, you know, you tell me all this stuff about, oh, I would never date her, and I would never date her. It's like, you're complaining about another guy's girlfriend that you're friends with. Oh, she's like this, blah, blah, blah. All these little complaints. Not even about looks, you know, because then won't go into that. I'm not going to insult him that much, but you know, I'm just saying, like, some of the choices, people have their own preferences, and it's all good. You know, I have my preferences. Sometimes people say that oh, that girl's terrible. Why would you date her? Why would you like her? You know, people all have their own preferences. So I'm not going to go into any realms of that. But of course, it's kind of ironic are so picky about certain things and not picky about other things. That's what I'm getting with that. I don't care if I did this video and it's offensive, whatever. So this other thing, yeah. So you insult the women that your friends, like very close friends, date. You also complain about their mental health struggles and say, oh, I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't deal with that. I can't even tally the list now of all this stuff. I can't even remember all the stuff I said in the previous 10 minutes. There's so much stuff. So this is a middle-aged incel. This is what it is. I mean, this is what you, yeah, well, yeah, kind of, but right now at least, but not in the near future, hopefully. But who knows, of course. But anyways, I don't sit here and complain about it anymore, because if I'm not doing anything about it, I'm not going to complain. Why would I complain about something I'm not doing anything about? That's stupid. That's ridiculous. But these people complain even with regards to not doing anything about it. They'll go online and they'll complain. Me and my friend, who I will count as part of this whole thing, we used to talk, and he'll know, both my friends would know if they watch this video, but I don't give a fuck. Fuck them. I'm trying to help them, okay, with this video, right? So we used to talk about Russes. Russ is a walrus. And I think I came up with this term. It's terrible, I know. So what would happen is we'd go on these online dating platforms or apps, and we'd go through these women. They're like, it looks like a walrus, literally like a walrus. So we started calling them Russes. Oh, another Russ emailed me, we used to complain about it. So I guess you're up shit creek if you're not going to approach. You're not going to try to get better socially, which I want to get better, right? And I want to get better at doing more social things, more social events, right? Because, I kind of fucked myself the last 4 years with, with some of my friend circles for various reasons that were some justified, maybe some unjustified. I'll just say that. Some things have happened, that I had more access to more people and more people around, But I'm starting to get out there again. I'm going to start getting out there. So you don't want to, you want to like be in a total sausage fest for your friends, but then you don't want to like, then you only do proximity. Okay, so certain occupations also, not occupations, but hobbies, don't have the women, let's say the women that you were attracted to physically, okay, physically. Some of these hobbies, it's harder to find. I'm just going to say it like this, and it's going to be kind of controversial, and I don't care. It's the truth, Some of these occupations, some of these hobbies, do not have the women that you're going to be attracted to. So what do? You have to, broaden your horizons. Don't just go to doom metal shows and expect like the most sane, hot woman, stoner rock girl. Dark ambient death industrial. Anyways, that's in reference to the same person. I just want to insult them. Anyways, you're not going to meet this mythical woman. So what are you going to do? Okay, so they're going to have mental health. Metal has mental health problems a lot of the time. They're not going to be normies. They're going to be against society. So you're going to have a little more imbalance. Just going to complain about it and watch better Bachelor videos, dude. You're a fucking idiot, You're not going to date women that are, within a certain age range because you think that you're more mature than them. Oh my God, you're an idiot, I mean, what job do you work? Some of these people are just complete and utter fucking hypocritical failures. Now, if I'm a failure, I don't want to be, the main thing is I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm just going to admit it, I'm going to admit that I'm a failure. And I am in certain ways, in certain aspects of my life. That's the truth. But I'm not going to sit here and virtue signal about, oh, I pinched a girl's butt 20 years ago and I just apologized to her. Me too, forever. And then go watch the most hardcore, weird porn and then go say that I'm a better person than you because I don't talk to strange women on the street. Go fuck yourself, man. That's fucking bullshit. So I'm going on a rant against these people because I think there is this thing. I think there's this phenomenon. If you're single at a certain age, you're kind of an incel because your standards in a certain way have gone so high that you don't even see the forest from the trees. You don't even know what you're talking about half the time. And you are such, you don't want to help yourself if you have to do the same thing you've always been doing. Same with me. I realized I've been doing like the online thing. I was stuck in that loop. Every once in a while I'd meet a girl from online, and she, there's certain aspects of that were bad. It would happen. It was a circular thing where I'd go on a date, be like, oh, the pictures don't even look like the girl, and be depressed about it. And another happens, and finally, years later, I'll meet someone. I'm just being honest here for various reasons. I'm just going to be honest about this stuff. So I think it's like, why complain about your friends' girlfriends or wives, especially ones that have been together for like 20 years? It's unbelievable. I'm remembering all these conversations. This is like for the hindsight thing. Remember these conversations with these people. They're miserable people. If you're going to be miserable, and that's another thing. Like attracts like. If you're a miserable person, you're going to attract a miserable person. Oh, I don't know why I'm attracting these like mentally ill girls. Stop complaining and start doing something about it. Be a more positive person. Doesn't mean stop listening to black metal or gore grind or death metal or doom metal. I don't mean that. I mean, or Arcturus, But I mean, like, stop being just a lame-o, Get your shit together. And it's like these circular rationalizations upon rationalizations that these people do that is delivering them to onanism, if you know what I mean. Onanism. Yeah. I mean, that's what's happening. You can be picky. There's certain looks I like, but so if you're going to be, so another aspect of these guys, and maybe my sex drive is not like these people that I'm talking about. And this is kind of a generalization. I think there's more than just these two people I'm talking about in this video. 2 or 3 maybe that I'm talking about in this video. There's a certain, level of sex drive these guys have, and they're like, I'm so horny, I need to get laid, and they whine about it in this way. I don't do that. I'm just like, it'd be nice to have a girlfriend. It'd be cool. Sometimes I'm lonely, of course, but kind of fucked myself socially the last few years too. So, I mean, on purpose. It was a controlled demolition of my social life. Because of self-destructive people, and some of the people I'm talking about in this video too. Because they won't follow me on Facebook because they're triggered by my posts, but they're my best friend. Fuck off, man. That's about all.